Hello, and welcome to Ben and Matt Watch Game of Thrones.
Brought to you by sci-fi-christian-podcast.com, and today we're bringing you an advanced review of Episode 7, You Win or You Die.
Yeah, so, just to make things clear, if you did not watch this episode, You Win or You Die on HBO Online.
Yeah, HBOGo.com. It's premiered early on there, but it has not broadcast yet at the time of this recording and will not until next Sunday.
Right, which will be the 29th of May.
Yes, so if you have not watched it yet, either online or on broadcast, this is an advanced review. We're going to go into full spoilers on the episode. Consider yourself warned.
Let's move on. They are warned.
They are warned.
I'm looking at the whiteboard. They were all over the place on this episode this week. Ben, where do you want to start?
Well, we had locations in Winterfell.
Mm-hmm.
We had a bit in the Riverlands with Tywin Lannister. We had stuff at the Wall in King's Landing, obviously.
The Free City,
Vase
Dothrock.
But I want to start with right where the episode started. This great scene between Jaime and Tywin Lannister.
Yes.
And Tywin Lannister is a new character. He's been alluded to a little bit, but this is the first time that we have actually met him.
Yes,
Do you know who Tywin Lannister is?
The father of Jaime, Cersei, and Tyrion.
And the Lord of House Lannister.
So he is... Who is he comparable to, like Ned, Robert?
Mm-hmm. Yep, well, Robert's the king, so Robert would be above him.
Or like Dany and...
Yeah,
okay.
He's the head of the house.
The top guy.
The top guy.
Alright.
So...
Why is he hanging out in a tent then?
Well... They are at war. Now they're marching on the Riverlands.
Oh.
They are preparing for war.
They're actually starting a war.
They are.
Ah.
And did you notice what he's doing?
He was skinning an animal.
Do you know what kind of animal?
I'm going to guess a boar.
No.
I'm going to guess a stag.
A stag. And why is a stag significant?
Because that is the sigil of House Stark.
Oh, you were so close! I was going to be so proud of you when you blew it at the last second.
Lannister.
Fumble on the 5-yard line.
Okay, so Stark is wolf.
Stark is wolf.
Lannister is... No.
Lion.
Okay, no, it's the Baratheons, right?
Yes!
Baratheons.
You got it!
Okay.
House Baratheon. So, a little bit of symbolism there.
So, the sigil of House Baratheon is the stag, which Tywin Lannister was skinning.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So he and Jaime are having this conversation. They're talking about what happened 2 episodes ago where Jaime attacked Ned.
Yes, and it sounds like the whole point of that wasn't to injure Ned, but to definitely kill him.
Well, at first Tywin's kind of rebuking Jaime for it, and then Jaime starts to explain why he did it, and then Tywin says, "Why is he still alive?"
He says it twice.
Because then Jaime gives his explanation. The guy stabbed him in the leg, and it would have been honorable to kill him. And Tywin says, "Why was he still alive?" Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yes.
Absolutely great. And then Tywin goes into his reasons for why they are going to take revenge on House Tully and why they are so determined to get Tyrion back.
Because it makes their family look bad if any of them are disrespected.
That's not an opinion, it's a fact, is what he says.
Yep.
I loved the portrayal of Tywin Lannister. I don't know the actor's name, but phenomenal job bringing that character to life.
He was not used very much, though, in this episode.
We'll see more of him.
Okay.
So he kind of rebukes Jaime a little bit for wasting his ability at being a glorified bodyguard to 2 kings.
Yes, and I think, was he saying that, Jaime, you could be a king?
I don't think he was saying that, because Tywin would be in line before.
Oh, something he said that was very interesting was that once they all die, then there's nothing left. No glory is going to be their legacy. There has to be a child, right? Is that what he was saying?
No, that's not really what they were saying. His point was that Jaime could not that Jaime could be a king or that he could father the house, but that he could do more with his life than just defending a crazy king first in Aerys and then a drunk king in Robert.
Oh, so the Mad King's name is Aerys?
Aerys Targaryen.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but then the significant thing in this scene at the end is that what he does is he sends Jaime to go attack Riverrun, which is the capital of House Tully, with 30,000 men. So
definitely war is happening.
House Lannister is officially marching against House Tully.
Oh my gosh, who's the head of House Tully?
Catelyn's father, whose name I am forgetting right now. But it might come to me.
So Catelyn's father is still out there somewhere.
He is still out there. But whereas last week we saw that Gregor Clegane was kind of going against House Tully and it was more subtle, now it's becoming overt. The war is escalating.
Wow. With only 3 episodes left, I am excited to see what's going to happen.
For sure.
Okay.
So that was the scene of Tywin, and then we get this scene in Winterfell between Theon and Asha, Asha being the character we met last week.
Yeah, and at first I was like, what? She's going to become a regular character? Because...
Yeah. You were not very happy in the last episode.
She seemed okay in this one, though.
Yeah.
And I like how she's revealing... she's starting to set the seeds for some mysteries that are like, what's going on here?
With the White Walkers. But it's kind of funny because in our last review that we recorded just yesterday, episode 6, you were saying that, everybody's doing it for Theon and being like, well, you're not a lord and you're not really a part of this house. And that was totally what was happening in this scene.
They're still doing it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this time it wasn't even one of the Starks. Who was that guy that walked in?
That was...
The old guy. He was wearing chains too.
Maester Lewin.
Okay. So, yeah. I like Theon Greyjoy. He's getting a bad rap, if you ask me.
I don't know.
Okay, listen. This is what happened to him. Obviously I haven't read the book, so you must know what's going to happen. Maybe he ends up being horrible. Okay. But for now, let's just look at the facts. He was kidnapped. He's being held...
No, he was not kidnapped.
Okay, the Greyjoys got taken over, and so...
No. Here's what happened. He's being the backstory.
Wait. It seems he's being held against his will, isn't that correct?
Yeah, but he wasn't kidnapped.
Okay, what happened?
So Balon Greyjoy, his father, rebelled against the kingdom. He wanted to be independent.
The Iron Islands?
The Iron Islands.
I heard that last night.
Yeah. Robert and Ned went against him, put down the rebellion, and as part of the peace treaty, Theon was now given as a ward to House Stark.
Okay, well, I'm sure Theon feels like he's been kidnapped.
Okay, but officially, there's a big difference between Ned Stark kidnapping him, which he wouldn't do.
Theon's being held against his will.
Yeah.
Continually being told, you're not as good as us. Yeah. And then, even when he does try to help, he gets scolded.
He does.
So...
You're feeling sorry for Theon.
If you're looking at the facts, he's a sympathetic character now. Who knows if he... I'm guessing he's going to turn on them eventually because this is the makings of a supervillain. But I'm just saying.
I don't know about a supervillain, but Theon will be a very important character next season.
Okay, so you heard it here first.
That's all I will say on him for now.
Well, is there anything you want to talk more about Asha?
No. I think you kind of saw it, that she's starting to be a little more accepted at Winterfell. She's accepting her role as a prisoner there, but she's also being treated well, and it's kind of starting to settle in.
I like how she doesn't really recognize titles like My Lord and stuff like that.
And kind of gave Theon crap for it. That was great. Also in the north, we had quite a few scenes up at the wall.
Yes. Starting
with Benjen Stark, who is Jon Snow's uncle.
Now this is the guy that, when they were up on the roof a couple weeks ago, they kind of had a nice interaction and they said goodbye. Yep. So this is somebody that's very important to Jon Snow.
This is Ned Stark's brother, Jon's uncle, and his horse comes back without him.
Yeah, I'm guessing that the White Walkers got him. That's what I'm guessing.
Maybe. We'll see. And then we also see that Jon and Sam, Pip and Gren, and some of the other trainees we've been watching are no longer trainees. They're going to be promoted to full brothers of the Night's Watch. But Jon does not get the assignment he wanted.
No, this is interesting that this happened because I remember when we were doing a review weeks back, you made a big deal about saying, Jon hasn't taken the vow yet. Yeah. So in my mind, I kind of told myself, well, he probably will never take the vow. So then, when we find out now that he wants to be a ranger, just like...
Benjen Stark.
Benjen. And he instead becomes a steward.
Yeah.
And worst of all, a steward to the guy that hates him, right?
Why is that? No. You're confusing Alliser Thorne, who is the guy who trained him, with Lord Commander Mormont. Okay. Lord Commander Mormont is a good guy. He was the one who was giving that speech.
Mormont?
Mormont.
The guy with Dany?
His father.
What?
We made this connection a while ago. I don't blame you for forgetting. Lots of characters. So, J.R. Mormont is the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch.
You just touched me on the video. That was weird.
Giving you an encouraging path.
Okay.
Here, just,
okay.
There.
Thank you.
Do it with the sword instead.
Now it's just like
even weirder.
A reverse spanking.
You took one moment that was going to be... No one was going to notice, and you just made it the most awkward moment in all of our reviews.
Right.
Congratulations.
Let's move on.
Even more awkward than you poking me with a stick and pretending I was your wife in the last episode.
Talk about the translator's father.
Okay, dude, quit calling him the translator. Like, I'm going to call you on this because he's so much better than a translator. Okay. Jorah Mormont is not a translator.
He's, I'm not really sure what his role is, though. What,
he is...
Just a loyal servant?
He is, like, he's kind of Dany's bodyguard in some ways.
Okay.
He is a sworn sword who is committed to help House Targaryen take back the throne. He is not a translator.
I like the idea of thinking of him as a bodyguard. That makes sense, because otherwise he's
Call him the bodyguard. I'll let you get away with that.
Otherwise he's just kind of, a nice guy, but a little...
He's a knight. Knights are not translators.
Creepy guy following Dany around everywhere for no reason.
Okay, call him the bodyguard.
A knight makes sense.
And call him the knight.
Okay, so Knight Mormont.
Knight Mormont, Sir Mormont.
But let's go back. We're at the wall.
So, J.R. Mormont, Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, is the father of Jorah Mormont, who is the knight, the bodyguard, but not the translator.
So wait, so is this bad that he has to be steward for this old guy?
John thinks it is.
Yeah, because he had always dreamed
of being a ranger.
Oh wait, what do you have here? Do you want to tell everybody?
Oh yeah, this is a Jon Snow's
Snore. Oh my gosh.
Jon Snow's sword,
okay.
Longclaw, which you will find in a future episode, so I will not give the backstory on this.
This season or next year?
This season.
Okay.
And this is an official replica, only 2,500 of these made.
What number do you have?
I have number 214. It's lasered in on the hilt.
That's pretty awesome. And you have a signed certificate.
Yeah, every one of the swords apparently comes with a signed certificate of authenticity from George R. R. Martin.
So that's pretty cool.
Okay, way cool.
So Jon Snow.
Jon Snow is not happy about being a steward, but he goes ahead and takes the vow anyway.
Because Sam talks him into it, actually.
Yep.
Sam says he's grooming you to be the next, what is...
Lord Commander.
Lord Commander. So get close to him, do whatever be around all the action.
Yeah, so he may be grooming him for that, but we will see. I'm not going to give anything away there.
Okay.
And then the final thing we have at the wall.
Wait, let me ask you this. Was that a punishment? Because it seems like it's a punishment because that one guy doesn't like him.
I'm not going to tell you.
It's a punishment. It's clearly... Because he proved himself as one of the best fighters around. He helped teach the others.
Maybe it's not a punishment. Maybe it's recognition for that.
Maybe.
Different ways you can read it.
Alright.
But then our last thing at the wall is we see Ghost finds a hand.
Yep, the wolf walks up with an arm. First thing I thought of was that's Benjen's arm. I don't know who else it would be.
No.
I mean, why would they introduce...
There's tons of people.
Okay, well, why would they introduce the fact that his horse came back and he's missing? So then all of a sudden there's a hand that comes back.
Maybe there's something else going on.
Okay, maybe there is.
So, just keep paying attention.
Okay.
Keep watching.
Alright.
So that's it at the wall.
Jon Snow takes the vow, which I was really sad about.
He does.
Because he can never get married, he can never have kids, he's going to have to live there forever, and if he ever deserts, he's going to get beheaded, like we saw in the first episode.
Mm-hmm. So not a good thing for him.
I kind of feel bad for him. I don't know why he would commit to that.
Yeah.
Why? Why would he?
Because what else is he going to do?
Find love? Have a family?
He's a bastard, so he can't really be a lord anywhere. He's going to be always... This is his only way to actually win renown, to make something of himself with his life.
That makes sense.
So, over in Vay's Death Rock.
Yes! Oh, I love this place now. I love the Horse Lords.
Yeah. Drogo and Dany are having a talk, and she wants him to invade the Seven Kingdoms, but he says
he doesn't need an iron chair.
He doesn't need an iron chair.
And so Dany gave this look that in my head I was thinking, she must be just thinking to herself, everybody around me is a moron. My brother was an idiot.
She doesn't think that.
My husband won't make a move.
No, you can't compare Viserys to Khal Drogo.
I'm not really. Obviously I like Khal Drogo.
Yeah.
But she had this look in her eyes like, come on, seriously people, I can see it and you can't.
Yeah. But she goes to the market, and this is where things kind of turn around because there's an attempt to kill her, an attempt to poison her.
Yes, and we'll talk about King's Landing later, but we already had a hint that something might be happening later because we heard that the assassin has already been sent out. We can't stop it now.
Yep.
So we're just waiting.
Yep.
And so Dany meets a kind wine seller.
Mm-hmm. Who tries to kill her.
But guess who comes to her rescue?
Jorah Mormont.
The Knight.
The Knight, who we had just found out had received word from Varys and had received a pardon.
His payment was a pardon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he still intervenes. So his loyalties are shifting. Even though he's been informing on Dany, he is becoming more and more loyal to her.
So yesterday, but last week, essentially, last week's episode, I said, I don't think he has feelings for her, I think he's just loyal to her. Is this a sign that maybe there is some romantic interest on his part? Or is he truly just somebody who it values their friendship.
We will see.
Okay.
But Drogo is not too happy about what happens, and he goes crazy.
It was actually...
He was jumping like this.
Yes. So, we're going to talk about the last scene, which was definitely awesome. But this scene...
was pretty cool.
Was maybe my favorite scene in the whole show.
Drogo's been like such a restrained character.
This is the first time he really talked.
He goes nuts.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So they have the guy that tried to kill Dany.
Yeah.
They have him all captive, tied up. Drogo starts talking to all the people, saying, "We're gonna build an army. We're gonna conquer.
He will make a gift of the 7 kingdoms to Rhaego, the stallion who mounts the world."
And they're going to go to the end of the world, do they call it, or the seas? Yeah. You know how they're afraid to cross the water.
Yeah.
They're going to do it, and then he said he's going to get the Iron Chair.
Yes.
Which I like that they call it that.
So cool.
That was a great scene.
So good things coming in Dany's story.
And did you see Dany's face change when he started going crazy and shouting? And
she was quite happy.
The language that they speak is pretty cool.
Did you know they invented that language for the show?
I figured, but it's kind of like Klingon.
You can learn it.
Klingon.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But our main part of the episode, for all this cool stuff, was not in Winterfell, not in the Riverlands, not in Vaves Dothrak, not at the Wall, was King's Landing.
Oh
this is where the action was this week.
Could King's Landing have been any more busy this week?
Ned confronts Cersei about what he learned in last week's episode, and we get a confirmation that the children are in fact Jaime's.
Yes. So, first of all, Ned was like huge detective in this episode.
Yeah.
He figures things out instantly because it's one thing to realize, wait a second, Joffrey is not Robert's son. But to me, they didn't really explain how he jumped to the notion that Jaime was the father. Like, how would you jump to the idea that a brother and sister were the ones? He seriously could have been with anybody.
Well, I think the whole thing that with Bran kind of tipped him off, where he kind of deduced that Bran must have seen them because they were the only. If you remember in that scene, and this wasn't very clear in the show, but there was a hunt going on. The only two who stayed behind were Cersei and Jaime.
Okay.
Bran saw something that got him pushed out the window. We know that someone was trying to kill Bran later on, so he was able to deduce a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay, I thought the same thing. And then he goes ahead and says, "And you tried to kill my son because he saw you two together." That's some serious detective work.
That's a brilliant guy.
So Cersei doesn't even try to hide it.
She doesn't.
She says, "We were together in the womb, and we're meant to be together now."
Yep.
And then she says the best line, so good that I'll let you say it.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you win, or you die.
You either win,
so cool,
or you die.
Yeah.
So this was one of the opening scenes of the whole show, and it was awesome. So
it was.
Ned tells her, he actually again shows his nobility, and he says, "Get your kids, get out of here."
Yep. He tells her to flee.
No need to be bloodshed over this, but I am going to tell Robert the truth.
Yep. But Robert, out on his hunting trip, has an unfortunate run-in with a boar.
A very unfortunate. Renly goes and finds Ned and says that Robert is close to death.
Yeah. So, Robert's dying, and then we get the scene between Robert and Ned, where Robert kind of gives him his last wishes, and Ned is going to rule.
Yes. Basically, he's saying, until Joffrey is of age, you will be the, what do they call it?
The regent.
Okay, that's not what they call it last night.
The protector of the realm.
Yeah, that's right, protector of the realm. And so he's having Ned write his words, but Ned does something interesting, doesn't he?
He, instead of writing until Joffrey comes of age, he writes till my rightful heir comes of age, which is not Joffrey.
No, and of course, King Robert, in his dying state, doesn't bother to read what Ned wrote, and so he signs it.
Well, it's Robert. I think he could be completely sober and still not read it, because this is how he does his thing.
Put his official seal on it.
Yep.
It's unbroken, so Ned has a claim to power right now.
He does.
A legitimate claim.
It's so cool. And then Ned has this talk with Varys, where Varys implies
the spider guy.
Lancel, who was giving Robert all this wine...
Yeah, we talked about that.
...was doing it for malicious reasons.
I don't think this is true.
You don't.
No, that guy seems clueless.
He's a Lannister.
I know, and the Lannisters always pay their debts, but still.
Well, but
he probably hates Robert.
You need to think about this, though. Lancel, he could be doing this maliciously, but still not be the guy behind it. He could be taking orders from Cersei, from anyone else.
Let's say that he was told, make him drink a lot of wine. Mm-hmm. How were they to know that a random boar was going to come and gore him?
I think in the book, it's said at one point, and I believe by Circe, though somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe I'm wrong about all of this, but I think that I'm remembering, they say if it wasn't a boar, it would have been a wayward arrow or something like that. He was going to die on that hunt.
This hunt was where he was going to die no matter what.
Yep.
So somebody was following with like an arrow also just in case an animal didn't attack?
Yeah, somebody was going to kill
Why
him.
didn't, the nice guy who was old that was a knight...
Barristan Selmy.
Barristan? Why didn't he... How did he not stop an animal from attacking the king?
Because Robert ordered him to stay back. Because Robert wanted to take it on myself.
Actually, didn't we kind of see that last week? Didn't Robert say, stay back? And and that's the last time we saw them last week.
It is.
And Renly had already gotten away. How was Renly on the scene so fast if he had left them in anger previously?
He hadn't left them in anger. He was still out on the hunt.
I seem to remember him turning away and walking and leaving.
Well, but he didn't leave the entire hunt.
Okay.
He just left their party at that moment.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but everybody's back in King's Landing now. And Varys implies the wine is given to kill, and then we get another conversation between Renly and Ned. And this was super interesting.
And last week, I had predicted that Renly...
Yes, you were a genius here, Matt.
Renly may want to be king. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And we saw it this week. He says Stannis is a soldier, he's not a king, and he wants to be king.
Yeah.
And I thought he was making an okay argument, but Ned had to do the right thing again, which I'm not complaining about, and so he says Stannis has to be king.
Yeah. But that wasn't the only thing Renly said. He told Ned to go and abduct Joffrey.
Oh yeah, because the person that controls the air controls the power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Ned won't do it.
He will not, because he's a nice guy. I mean,
it's the same thing. This is the reason Ned doesn't do this is the same reason he doesn't tell Robert about Circe and Jaime on his deathbed. He doesn't want to see the kids get killed. He wants to do whatever he can to avoid having the children die.
Okay.
And he knows if he tells Robert, that Robert will go nuts and have Circe killed, have all 3 children killed, and he knows that if he starts abducting the children, likely they're going to die.
So we've seen Joffrey. There's 2 other children that are also Jaime's?
Yes.
What are their names?
Tommen and Marcella.
Are they going to be important, or should we just let them
leave not this season.
Okay.
Not this season.
Okay. Let's see.
Then Ned writes to Stannis to tell him, dude, get your butt to King's Landing because you're the king, and I'm trying to hold everything together here.
Now, do you think that in the letter he wrote, P.S., Joffrey is Jaime's son?
Well, Stannis already kind of knew this, because Stannis was helping Jon Arryn with his investigation.
What? If he knows that, why isn't he in King's Landing?
I'm trying to remember how this all works out. I don't think that Stannis had conclusive proof yet.
Let me ask you this. On the TV show, has it been made clear that Stannis is working with, or was working with Jon Arryn before his death?
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and watch.
This is the first I've ever heard.
But you might have just forgotten Stannis because unfamiliar name, and you were already learning 2 billion characters.
That's true.
So it might have been mentioned, but I don't remember. But then, after Ned finishes his letter to Stannis, Littlefinger shows up, and they have a conversation about the City Watch.
Yes, Littlefinger again tries to win Ned over and says, "Forget about everybody else. You should be the king.
You take power," and then he agrees to help Ned bribe the City Watch, led by Commander Janos Slynt, who you met in a previous episode.
What was he doing in the previous episode?
He was petitioning the small council about how everything in the city was getting out of control because of the tournament. He was the kind of a guy with the gray beard.
No,
okay.
Well, anyways.
Janos Slynt, he bribes Slynt and the rest of the City Watch to be on Ned's side, supposedly.
Supposedly, yeah. I mean, so let's go to the throne room.
This is where it all hits the fan because Robert dies.
Oh yeah,
Robert's dead.
Yes, which was, I mean, I kind of could see it coming at this point. I mean, in the episode, but when I first saw him laying on his bed, his deathbed, I had no idea he would.
So before we go to the throne room, let's pause here briefly because you had said something last week about how, well, Viserys seemed like a really important character, now he's dead. Yeah. Obviously, Robert seemed like an important character, he's dead.
Yeah.
Are you starting to get a feel for how unpredictable this series is?
Yeah, it's good. Much like Lost.
Anybody don't know who's going to die.
Yeah, so last week I would have never guessed in a million years that King Robert was going to be dying this week, and he's gone.
So, throne room. Ned meets up with Littlefinger and Varys.
No, wait, Varys is the spider ball guy?
Yes.
Okay, so they storm in. Ned in the front.
Janos Slynt with him and the City Watch at his back.
No, now who are the 2 guys right behind him?
Those
Littlefinger?
Littlefinger and Varys.
Okay. And
plus he has a few guards from House Stark with him.
Okay. And all those people are the guards from House Stark?
Yep.
Okay. And then sitting on the throne, Joffrey, the king.
Yes.
Cersei's there. And they have, who do they have all with them? All those night people?
Yeah, the Hound was there.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ned pulls out the letter from Robert, and he gives it to Barristan Selmy, because he knows Selmy is honorable. Now, Selmy is a member of the King's Guard, so he is sworn to protect the king with his life. This is why Ned is trying to get him on his side as quick as possible.
Okay. Oh, that's a good move.
Yeah. So, Selmy reads the letter.
Out loud.
Hands it to Cersei.
Yep.
She tears it up.
She rips it up and says, and Ned said, that's a letter from the king.
Well, no, Barristan Selmy, who is completely honorable. If there's one guy who's even more honorable than Ned, it's probably Barristan Selmy.
Okay.
And so he says, those were the king's words, and Cersei says, we have a new king now.
Yeah, Robert's dead.
So cool.
Yeah.
Then Ned prepares to make his move. He believes he has the gold cloaks, the city watch with him. He steps forward.
And at this point in the show, I'm thinking he's trying to end this peaceably.
Yes.
Maybe Barristan.
He even says, I don't want any bloodshed.
Yeah.
Take him into custody. No one needs to die.
And I'm thinking he's going to win this. I thought that's what's going to happen. Everybody's going to gather up Cersei and Joffrey. Ned's going to take the throne.
Yep.
And that's where the story will go.
But Cersei and Jaina Slynt exchange a look. She nods to him. And the city watch turns on House Stark. They kill all the guards of House Stark. And the episode ends with Littlefinger and a sword at Stark's throat. And he says, I did tell you not to trust me.
That made me uncomfortable.
So
yes.
cool.
That was awesome. And the first thing I said out loud was, Littlefinger, no! But you've been warning me all season, essentially.
Yeah. And you started out feeling he was okay.
Yeah, I mean, even up until, even when you were telling me, don't believe what he says, or don't believe what anybody says, but really you were telling me don't believe what Littlefinger says.
Right.
It was...
Well, no.
Okay.
Don't believe what anyone says. Littlefinger's not the only untrustworthy person.
So, but I still kind of wanted to think that maybe he was a good guy. We had seen him talk earlier about how he had, he still had feelings for Catelyn and whatnot, but man, I didn't see knife to the throat coming.
So, I obviously knew what was going to happen.
Yes.
Because I read the book. But this scene was shocking. Even knowing what was going to happen, I watched it twice, this scene, and it's so well done. Perfectly executed. The way that they shot this scene, the way it was acted. Absolutely brilliant. So
do you think, let's just talk about Littlefinger for just a second. Yes, I agree. It was a great scene. It was a great way to end the show. Do you think Littlefinger's motivations are, one, just money and power, or two, he wants Ned gone so he can get his one true love, Catelyn, to be with him?
I think it's a little bit of both. Okay. I think that I don't know that he really has much hope of actually being with Catelyn. Okay. I think he wants some revenge on Ned. He hates Ned, obviously, because he's married to Catelyn.
I don't know if I know the exact story. Can you just kind of fill in briefly what happened exactly? Okay, so
Littlefinger was the ward of House Tully. Kind of like Theon is for House Stark. He was that way for House Tully. Oh my gosh,
he was a prisoner?
No, he wasn't a prisoner. He was a ward.
Okay.
Ward doesn't have to mean prisoner. It could just mean you're being raised by another house.
Alright.
Actually, somebody put up an explanation of what a ward is in one of the comments on our videos, and I don't remember what they said, but it was good.
Okay,
so
good.
Go hunt that down. So he was the ward of House Tully. He fell in love with both Catelyn and Lysa.
He fell in love with both sisters?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound
But especially Catelyn.
Okay.
Catelyn was betrothed to Brandon Stark, who was Ned's brother.
Older brother.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if he was older or not, but she was betrothed to Brandon Stark. And Littlefinger challenges Brandon to a duel. He loses.
Wait, and what is the scar that he was talking about?
That was what Brandon did to him.
Where is the scar?
It's on his chest or something like that. So Brandon beat him up pretty good, but didn't kill him because Catelyn begged that he be left alive. Brandon dies in the war, and then...
At the same time as Ned's father?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know. But Brandon dies.
Okay.
And then Ned winds up marrying Catelyn.
Why? Why would he marry him? Because she was
Because she was betrothed to House Stark, and so he stepped in and did his brother's duty.
Do you think Catelyn loved Littlefinger, or did she love Brandon?
She loved Littlefinger as a brother.
Man.
It was the old I love you as a friend type thing.
Right. So Ned named one of his sons after his brother who died. Brandon.
Yeah. Brandon's kind of a common name in House Stark.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, Catelyn wound up being with Ned. Littlefinger's insanely jealous, and now he has taken his revenge on House Stark.
I think they're even.
Yeah, that pretty much does it.
Wow, so...
Amazing episode.
Really good episode. So there's 3 left, and this was the first week that I was thinking that I thought I don't want this season to end. Like I won't be able to wait until because now we're gonna have to wait a while for the second season.
You will.
Do you know how long?
Probably another year.
Yeah. So.
But hopefully the second season will be a little longer.
That would be good.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, week by week I've enjoyed it, and I've actually enjoyed it more and more as we've gone on. But this week was the first time where I was actually dreading the end of this season.
Yeah.
So the storytelling is excellent on the show.
If there was one complaint about the episode, it's that Tyrion wasn't in it. But you know what? The rest of the episode was so awesome I didn't even miss him. Yeah. And Tyrion's my favorite character.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So I think that's good. I think that's a good review.
Can't wait for episode 8. Only bad part about getting to watch this one in advance is we have an extra long wait till the next episode.
Yeah, so our next review won't be up now for
a while.
2 weeks?
Yeah, a little less.
A little less than 2 weeks.
We'll get it to you soon.
Well, that's all from here. I'm Anderson.
And I am Ben DeBono.
And we're the Sci-Fi Christians, signing off.